got the right horse.
6 quick steps.
Now
You're ready to ride.
Welcome to the Wickerburg Roundup. My name is Richard, and today we're going to be talking about the 6 steps to buying a horse, the right horse. In episode 1, we'll go over what type of horse to buy and what type of riding you'll be doing and what you'll be expecting from that horse. Episode 2, which horse? A mare, a gelding, young horse, old horse, what kind of training, what kind of disposition. Then episode 3, what to budget for a horse, how much they can cost, how much they cost to feed and maintain. Episode 4, who and where to buy your horse. Episode 5, the purchase process. Episode 6, care of your horse when you first get him home. So let's sit back, listen, and enjoy.
6 steps for buying a horse. Let's make it the right horse.
find your ride, pick it right, be smart and count your cash and go.
Buy smart, take it home, let that good horse grow.
Now we got the right horse, right horse.
6 quick steps.
Now
You're ready to ride.
Hello and welcome to the Wickenburg Roundup. This is episode 1 out of the 6 steps to buy a horse, and the right horse. And again, this is episode 1. Identify the type horse that you would like. And that goes lots of different variables here, but one of the most important things is which breed would you like? With so many different horses out there, there's quarter horses, there's Arabs, there's foxtrotters, there's so many different breeds out there, but what might help that is what discipline would you like? You know, if you want to ride English, if you want to ride Western, if you want to do dressage, hunter jumper, trail riding, roping, so many different things that you can do. Now, one thing is disposition. Make sure you get one that has a disposition that you can get along with. My favorite disposition is always quiet. And then soundness. This part, you might need to get a vet involved. Nothing wrong with having a vet look at your horse, having an extra set of eyes on it when you're right down to the buying process. And then what would you really like to do with your horse? You know, talk to your friends that have horses. They're going to be one of your greatest assets in being able to make a good decision. Another thing, go ride a lot of different horses. Get a feel for what you really like. I mean, you might see something, then you go ride it and you go, oh, this isn't for me. Another thing that you can do that really helps is go take some lessons. Learn about as much of different breeds and different horses as you can. There is nothing wrong with going and learning more about a horse. I still love to go and learn. The learning curve's never ending. And decide if you're ready to have the responsibility of being a horse owner, because it is a big responsibility, if not even a lifestyle change for some people that have never had horses. Along the way, we're going to talk about some of the do's and some of the don'ts in buying a horse, and especially when you're buying your first horse. Just a lot of things can go wrong, so maybe listen up and we can steer you in the right direction. So be careful when you decide on what type of horse you want. Figure out what you're going to do with this horse. I mean, it's not just buy it and bring it home. I mean, kind of have a game plan. That will go over this probably a lot in a game plan. But the breed of the horse that's going to fit your needs the best. I'm a quarter horse guy. I've had a lot of paints over the years as well. But figure out the horse that's going to be the most versatile for what you're going to do. And then this, to me, is one of the most important things, is to be safe. When you're around these horses, they can hurt you. So get one that fits your ability. Again, to stay safe, you'll be a lot happier. It is something my dad would teach me is do your due diligence. And when you're buying and looking at horses, make sure that you do enough background. Again, I'm going to say a vet is sure going to help. But do your due diligence and find about as much information as you can. We want to thank you for listening to this episode. And our next episode is going to be on which horse to pick once you find them. And we're going to show you where and how there are different places to get a horse. So, again, this is the Wickenburg Roundup. We're at the Wickenburg Podcast headquarters at the world-famous La Siesta Plaza in downtown Wickenburg. If you like what you've seen, give us a like, show your friends, and we'll see you next time.
6 steps for buying a horse. Let's make it the right horse.
Find your ride, pick it right, be smart and count your cash and go.
Buy smart, take it home, let that good horse grow.
Now we got the right horse, right horse.
6 quick steps,
Now
you're ready to ride.
we got the right horse, right horse.
6 quick steps,
Now
you're ready to ride.
Hello and welcome to the Wickenburg Roundup. Today I had some questions and I thought I'd go over it. Recently we have the biggest discussion I've seen in a long time is the EHV1 virus that's affecting a few horses right now. It could go and blow out a lot bigger, but we're going to sit back and see. But I want some opinions and I want to hear some stories and what people think is the best advice, the most prudent advice, what's the safest. But there's so many different ways to look at this, and I can tell you what some of the talk is and what I'm hearing, but I'd like your comments. I'd like to see what you think about this terrible situation that we've got going on and see what other options there would be. But, you know, rodeo, as we all know, there's a big one coming up. There's horse shows, there's barrel racings, there's breakaway ropings. There's some huge shows coming up that could be affected by this, and we need to. What is the most responsible way to respond to what's going on? But let's try to see both sides. I don't have a strong opinion either way. I know what I'm going to do, and I'll let you know. But I want to hear what you want to do or what you're going to do and how you're affected, because I think personally there's a lot of people I know that are going to be affected. About 10 years ago, this came out again, the EHV1. I was in California at the time. I was buying and selling horses, and everybody said, let's just quarantine. It started in Utah at a cutting, and after the cutting, it went everywhere else. So I don't know if it was completely nationwide, but I know in that area, I bought a lot of horses in Utah, and I decided that there's no way I'm going to do anything with my horses but stay home. So I stayed home, rode in the arena, and did other things. I went to, with my horse shoer, I went to Knott's Berry Farm, something I'd never do. But after that, everything recovered. I mean, the business picked back up again. I missed off. I got back what I lost by being closed, and I think it was a whole 6 weeks. And I probably closed down early and stayed closed longer, but it was, I think it was about 6 weeks. It reminded me also about the Gulf War, just about how things are going to recover. You know, there was a time period where the market was just dead. My dad and I, we weren't getting phone calls. We had horses advertised. You know, I'm going, oh my gosh, this is the first time that this has ever happened to me, where the market just totally went stagnant. It's done it since then, but at times, not now. But my dad said, well, we were planning on going to these sales. Let's go out and buy horses. And I was nervous. My dad said, this'll pass. And we went out and bought horses, and we could buy them a lot cheaper. And as soon as this got over, the floodgates opened, excuse me, and we sold almost every horse that we had that was for sale that first weekend. And so when these things happen, you know, we will recover. But this is different, I believe, this year. I'm just trying to figure out some of the economic loss that that we could have. The NFR alone You have all the contestants, all of the vendors, everybody that plans on going. I mean, let's try to look at both sides of this. And I want to hear from you. What are some of the economic downturns that this could be? A contestant travels all year to get to NFR, and now he can't compete. And now there might not be an NFR at all, even if they postpone it. But something could happen. And you go all year, and you're 14 or 15. You don't know if you're going to be healthy enough, your horse is going to be healthy enough to go compete the following year. So, I mean, there's so many things. It reminds me of the Olympics that we boycotted in Moscow, and people that were ready to go to the Olympics didn't get the opportunity to go. Again, what's fair, what's unfair, but what's the most responsible thing to do? And again, I want your opinion. Let's try to look at both sides of this scenario, and what are going to be some of the best outcomes. I'm going to stay home. My horses are going to stay home. I'm okay with that. I'll just ride in the arena, and not touch noses with others, and not have people come over and ride. But I want to hear what you have to say. I mean, it is very important to try to get both sides of this story. It's a terrible thing that's happening, but please let us know, and be kind. We're just wanting to hear people's opinion. Maybe things I had not heard yet. But thank you again for joining us. We'd love to hear from you. This is Richard with the Wickenburg Roundup, and we're at the Wickenburg podcast headquarters in Wickenburg, Arizona, at the world-famous La Siesta Plaza.
6 steps for buying a horse. Let's make it the right horse.
Find your ride, pick it right, be smart and count your cash and go.
Buy smart, take it home, let that good horse grow.
Now we got the right horse, right horse.
6 quick steps,
Now
you're ready to ride.
we got the right horse, right horse.
6 quick steps,
Now
you're ready to ride.
Hello and welcome to the Wickenburg Roundup. This is our episode 2 on steps to buying the right horse. This one is which horse? There's lots of horses to choose from, but then let's get to where you start to narrow it down when you're looking at a lot of different horses. Things that are going to be extremely important. First, I like to look at conformation, and my dad was in the car business. I grew up in the car business, but with horses. But it's curb appeal. You want to look at a horse that's balanced and that has some look about it. I mean, they don't have to be gorgeous, but you do have to look at that horse every day once you buy it until you sell it. But make sure that the hip looks right, the head looks right, the feet look right, the teeth look right, the eyes look right. I mean, that's just basics. But you need to go and make sure to do your research on each breed, because each breed has strengths and weaknesses and things that you need to look at. But feet, very, very important. If you have no foot, you got no horse. And what that means is if a horse goes lame and he's got sore feet, navicular ring bone, coffin joint, hocks. I mean, there's so many things that can happen that'll make a horse sore. But part of that is conformation and starting out with their feet. Probably one of the most important things. This is where later on in the process that you might get a vet involved if you have questions. And I always say, do your due diligence. I'll probably say that a lot, but do your homework. Do your background check. I mean, really know a lot about the breed. If you've never had a horse before, read books, go online, ask Siri. I do. And then, if you have a friend, a trusted friend that has experiences with that's always a big help when you're looking at the horses and the proper conformation for the breed. Okay, here is another one that is huge. is disposition. You know, I bought and sold horses for many years with my father, and then alone on my own. And disposition was so important. I look at, I was buying for the general public, and I believed that it was my responsibility to have a horse that was quiet and gentle. The worst thing that could ever happen in this industry is people getting hurt, people suing people. It's just terrible. If a guy has a good conscience, you're going to want to buy the right horses to sell the right horses that are gentle, and that disposition is so very important. But you know, you want to look at a calm eye. You want to make sure they're not drugged. Unfortunately, I have seen a lot of that in this industry, and at one time I said the industry needs a shakedown, and I wasn't the guy to do it. But there are parts of it that aren't good, and when people hear me say that, I might not be very popular with them. But someone's got to look out for the first-time horse buyer, so they make sure that they get a safe and sound horse. And then when you buy the horse, is it going to need more training for the use that you're gonna do? If you buy a show horse, I can guarantee you, it might be a great, ready to go show horse the day you buy it. You're going to have continued training of that horse while you're showing. If it's hunter jumper, if it's cutting, you know, a lot of rodeo guys and ropers, they do a lot of that stuff, and the barrel races, they do it themselves, but they have the experience. But training is a big one, and it's not just training for the horse, it's training for yourself. You know, I look at any self-help things you can do in life are the same with horses. Take some time to learn about what you're getting into. There's, again, so many different things, and if you get one horse, end up maybe buying another, and, you know, learn about other breeds, learn about other disciplines. You know, some of the best Western riders in my book have always started out English. Not all of them, but usually the good riders can go. They can go either way. I'm probably a lot better in a Western saddle than an English saddle or a dressage saddle. But that training on you and the horse. And then, you know, basically, what is the purpose of the horse? You know, is it for your enjoyment? Is it just turn out and having a pasture? My dad and I, remember we sold a horse. Some people, they raised many horses, and they wanted a horse that would help keep all these younger horses calm. And they bought this beautiful paint that all it would do was hang out in the pasture with all these minis and keep them mellow. And we were kind of bummed. I mean, the gorgeous ranch. The horse had the best life ever, but it didn't get rode after we sold it, we were sad about that. But it was a super nice mare. But have a purpose and know what you're going to try to do with that horse. If it's trail riding, if it's roping, cutting, whatever it is that you want to do and enjoy that animal, have a purpose for him. Here's a big one, and it's age. And people say, oh, that's no big deal. You know, I'll learn with a young one. Well, sometimes the younger ones are the ones that are going to get you hurt because they don't have the miles. They might turn into that good horse, but then know that it's going to take riding and training to get them there. I know for years we wouldn't buy horses that were 15 years old, and because we figured that was closer to the end of their life. I mean, they can go 25 serviceable years, some of them, with good care and good feed. But 15 now is not unheard of. Guys are out buying this type of horse. He has been there. He has done that. He might have been a super high dollar at 10. What I mean, he's just worth a lot more because of his age. But at 15, he's still got a lot of life left, and he will fit a lot of people. Buying babies, which they are so cute, but they come with a lot of maintenance. Again, goes back to the training. 3 and 4 year olds might look like a fully developed, fully grown up horse. Again, they need more training. They need more miles. Sweaty saddle pads are a good thing for a horse. But these are some things that, you know, with conformation, disposition, training, have a purpose, and then the age of the horse. They're things when you're going out to pick that horse, you should know what you want. I mean, just because they're pretty, just because they're the color you want, don't necessarily buy them. Have some of this stuff kind of picked out in your mind, and talk to people that know. Have some of this stuff figured out before you start looking. It's going to make everything a lot better as far as the long term, and might save you some money too. But again, this is Richard. I am with the Wickenburg Roundup. We like to keep things uplifting. We want to stay positive on everything, and most of all, believe in yourself. We're at the Wickenburg Podcast headquarters at the world-famous La Siesta Plaza in downtown Wickenburg. If you do like us, give us a like, share us, and subscribe, but we'd sure appreciate it. Thank you again. It's Richard with the Wickenburg Roundup. Thank you, and we'll see you next time for the budget of the horse.
6 steps for buying a horse. Let's make it the right horse.
Find your ride, pick it right, be smart and count your cash and go.
Buy smart, take it home, let that good horse grow.
Now we got the right horse, right horse.
6 quick steps,
Now
you're ready to ride.
got the right horse, right horse.
6 quick steps,
Now
you're ready to ride.
Hi, welcome to the Wickenburg Roundup. We talked the other day about buying your first horse, and now I had some questions about what the different breeds and disciplines are, and maybe going into a little bit further into that. You know, there's so many different things that we can have horses to be able to enjoy. Leisurely trail riding, competitively trail riding. There's horse showing in all different types of different shows. Reining, which is a growing sport. Team sorting, cutting, roping, hunter jumper, dressage. So many things. Endurance. I could go on and on and on, and this is without notes. But I'll just go into some of the basic breeds and kind of what their strengths are. And I'm going to start with one of the oldest breeds, if not the oldest. The Arabian horse, over the years, I believe, is one of the first horses, not the first horse. I believe it's a prehistoric horse that would be first. But these horses were bred for their beauty and their endurance. They'll go so much further than a heavy-muscled quarter horse or a draft horse, which is basically built for pulling. And in war, they were war horses that they would actually fight on because they were so big. But Arabs do endurance riding. They are great trail horses. They have probably more personality than any horse out there. And then in the show ring, they're absolutely gorgeous. Probably one of the prettiest horses and one of the prettiest moving horses would be an Arabian horse. If you'd watched the movie Hidalgo, there was several Arabian horses in that, and that would be the type of race. Maybe not near as intense as that, but that would be that was in that particular race. You know, let's talk about some of the gaited horses. You know, there's Tennessee Walkers, there's Missouri Foxtrotters. There's quite a few different gaited horses. There's offshoots of the gaited horse, but you know, they're are known to be the smoothest horse, probably the fastest walking horse. They have a gait. They have several gaits, actually, and it's very comfortable, very smooth. Again, they're good for trail riding. They're usually known to have great dispositions and being gentle, but then in the show ring, they're very versatile in some of the showing that they do in the judging against how the certain horses gait, and very interesting to watch. Let's talk a little bit about this. I'm going to talk about a draft horse, and there's draft horses and draft crosses. Draft crosses, a lot of people ride. Actually, in Wyoming, that's all we have is draft crosses, where you might have a draft father and a quarter horse mother, or a draft cross mother, and these are bigger horses. The drafts would be like a Clydesdale, a Belgian, a Percheron. These are big, heavy-boned horses. I was the photographer at a Belgian, it was just a horse pull, but every single one of them were the big Belgian horses. And I was so impressed with their minds and their strength and what they could do when they would pull these sleds. But they would go pull hard, and then when the driver would ask them to stop and quit pulling, they would. And they'd listen very intently to him, even after being so excited as they're pulling these heavy loads. But draft horses were used in war. Like I said earlier, they would joust on these horses. They're huge. But in Europe, where most of these breeds come from, they'd pull a wagon or they'd pull a team. It was a luxury to have a draft horse. The gypsies had the gypsy banner, which is a kind of a cross between a paint horse, which is not an American paint, but they're a lot of them were black and whites, and they weren't as desirable to others, but the gypsies used them, and they wouldn't get them taken from them. But if it was a pretty jet black horse, they'd probably get it confiscated, or somebody would take it from them. I'm an American quarter horse person. That's the horses I've bought and sold for years and have rode all of my life. To me, they're the most versatile, but I think that's not the right statement, because they're the most versatile for what I like to do. And the American quarter horse, and their name says it all, or starts it all, is the quarter mile in the racetrack. They're known to be the fastest horse for a short distance. The race horses aren't near as heavy boned and heavy muscled as some of the other horses, like some of the quarter horses, the people that go roping, even some of the trail horses. They're big, strong, heavy boned ranch horses that go out and work and rope cattle and doctor on cattle and go to roping competitions and rodeo. But they're trail riding. You can drive them. They're, for the most part, known to be a very gentle breed. And most people get along with that breed. And I know I have. And again, they'll do cutting. They'll do reining, working cow horse. They have where they show their athleticism. But pretty neat horses to own and have. But when you're looking for a horse or picking the type horse you want to figure out what exactly do you want to do with a horse. What is it that makes you want to get a horse? I mean, they're an expensive investment. That's probably not the best investment, but the money isn't as important sometimes as what you get out of the horses. I know my joy is probably some of the highest when I see horses perform as they get better, as they mature, as they learn transitions and work better with training and repetition, and they become your family. Family being number one, but horses are right up there. But figure out exactly what you want to do. And sometimes the first horse you buy isn't going to be the horse you're going to keep forever, and it might not be the best horse. But, take your time. look at a lot of horses, ride a lot of horses, take a lot of lessons, figure out what you're going to want to do. Because sitting in a barn isn't always the best thing for a horse. Sweaty saddle pads are. I mean, get them out and ride them. But then get instruction. Don't get hurt. You get hurt and you're going to have a lot less fun. So I hope this answers some of the questions that I had. We want to thank you for calling in and asking these. But, be wise in your decisions. Pick wisely. Take your time. Get a trusted friend when you're out looking. Find the breed that you like. Find somebody that you like that you want to buy from. Get a friend that's experienced and have them help. And then probably talk to your local vet to get information, and maybe even your local boarding facility on what to do unless you've got a place for your horse. So until next time, thank you again for calling in, and we'll see you again at the Wickenburg Roundup. Thank you. Oh, be sure and and ask questions. If you want to ask questions, I will answer them online. This is the Wickenburg Podcast headquarters at the world famous La Siesta Plaza. I almost forgot. I can't forget the La Siesta, world famous La Siesta Plaza. We're so lucky to be here, and it's in downtown Wickenburg. This is Norco's called Horsetown, USA, but I don't know if this isn't Horsetown, USA, at least in the winter. So thank you again, and we'll see you soon.
6 steps for buying a horse. Let's make it the right horse.
Find your ride, pick it right, be smart and count your cash and go.
Buy smart, take it home, let that good horse grow.
Now we got the right horse, right horse.
6 quick steps.
Now
you're ready to ride.
We got the right horse, right horse.
6 quick steps.
Now
you're ready to ride.
Hello again. This is Richard from the Wickenburg Roundup. We're on episode 3 on how to buy a horse and buying the right one, hopefully. This one is going to be on the budget. And I looked up a lot of numbers online to make sure I have some numbers just to kind of let you know what is out there, what these horses are going to cost. Not so much what the horses are going to cost, but all the expenses. But we're going to start on first kind of what the market is, and we're going to go back. Most of these numbers I'm going to have both from 2005 to 2025, which is going to be 20 years from now, or back from now. So in 2025, we have 6.65 million horses in the United States. That's still a lot. And that's estimate. They don't know exactly how many wild horses there are out there. But 20 years ago, we had 9.2 million horses. That's almost 3 million horses less in a 20-year time period. That's a big number. So there are less horses, and there's supply and demand. That's one of the reasons the market's higher, is because there are less horses around. I'm going to give these numbers now are going to all be from, I'm going to say they're regionally, or they're from Arizona. And those are easier numbers to manage instead of all over the United States. But in a sale in Prescott, Arizona in 2025, the average was $21,500, and the highest priced horse in that sale was $100,000. Those horses, it's gone up a lot. In 2005, again, sorry, average prices of a horse were between $1,000 and $73,500. So you can tell that the market 20 years ago was not near as high, but still there were some expensive horses out there. The average auction price of a horse in the year 2005 was $6,600. That's all the auctions that were put on in the state of Arizona for that year. Average care of a horse, and this is 2025, is between $200 and $325. That's average cost. That's what the alfalfa, what the grass, hay, that's what that cost is. Now there's more, but wait, there's more. Shoes, and this would be shoes for the horse. A farrier or a shoer will cost you between 6 and 8 weeks, between $100 and $600 a month, or a shoeing, excuse me. Depending if a horse needs special shoes, sliders, egg bar shoes, natural balance shoes. I mean, the price can go up accordingly on what needs your horse has. In 2025, average board is between $400 and $2,000. That's across the state of Arizona. That does just kind of showing some averages. Board in 2005, just 20 years ago, was between $300 and $500 a month. So we see a big increase on some of the higher end boarding facilities. Training, and this is for the year 2025, an average in Arizona is $1,395. That's usually full care with a horse rode about 5 days a week. So that's what it's going to cost if you buy a young horse and you have to have it in training, or an older horse that's got issues that needs a little bit more training. If you want to rent a horse, average in the state of Arizona is $67.50 an hour. Lessons are on average between $60 and $75 per hour. These are all expenses when you're getting into horses that a lot of times you don't think about, but they're actually what cost. They cost money to learn. Average vet bills per month are between $50 and $200. The $200 probably being horses that need maintenance, show horses or work horses that have breakdowns that need a vet, or horses that get sick. That can vary. Supplements, and I am a big believer in giving a horse supplement between $10 and $50 per month. Now we're going to go into tack. Just a bridle can vary between $50 to $300 on what an average bridle would cost. The higher end, show horse bridles might be even a lot higher than that. Saddles, they've got 3 different levels: the entry, mid-level, and show horses, show saddles, excuse me. Entry level between $300 and $800. You can buy a saddle. I don't know if that's new or used. These are numbers that I got online. A mid-level saddle is between $800 and $2,000, and a show saddle between $2,000 up to $5,000. Again, these are all averages, but I know there's saddles that are even more than that. So an average cost to take care of a horse in 2025 is between $6,000 and $7,000 a year. So whatever you spend on that horse, know that you have to budget in that kind of money just to take care of them. Here's kind of some fun numbers, I thought. An average truck in the year 2025, this is new and used, to be able to pull your horse around to go to a trail ride or to go to a horse show, to go wherever you want to take him, is $47,000 for the truck. The trailer, average trailer, is between $5,000 and $100,000, depending on how fancy you get. Now, that does not include living quarters trailers that can be from $100,000 to over $300,000. There's some pretty fancy trailers out there. So online, they say it is better to lease a horse at first when you're first getting into them. That isn't the direction I would go, but that's what the advice online when I was looking things up that it gave you. So when you're out horse shopping, know that there's not just the expense of the horse, but there's taking care of that horse. And there's lots of expenses, those hidden expenses that creep up on you. But I've got to say one thing about owning multiple horses, it's worth it. At least to me it is. So our next episode will be who and where to buy a horse. I mean, there's several different places for that. Again, this is Richard Johnson. I'm with the Wickenburg Roundup, where we are positive, we're uplifting, and believe in yourself. If you like what you see, give us a like and subscribe to the channel. We have lots of episodes coming up here shortly, and thank you for watching and listening. Thank you.
6 steps for buying a horse. Let's make it the right horse.
Find your ride, pick it right, be smart and count your cash and go.
Buy smart, take it home, let that good horse grow.
Now we got the right horse, right horse.
6 quick steps,
Now
you're ready to ride. 6 steps for buying a horse. Let's make it the right horse.
find your ride, pick it right, be smart and count your cash and go.
Buy smart, take it home, let that good horse grow.
Hello again. This is Richard with the Wickenburg Roundup, and we're talking about buying and selling horses, but we're talking about in this episode actually buying your horse. So what we've got now is you know what breed you want. You've narrowed it down. You know if you want a mare or a gelding. You know what color you want. I mean, narrow it down. What disposition, what temperament. You want to know all of these things when you go out and look. And when you do this, call the people. Talk to the people that own the horse. Talk to the people selling the horse. Make sure that you ride multiple horses so you know exactly what the feel is that you're looking for. Show horses, trail horses, any kind of horse, you want to know exactly what you're buying. I believe when my dad and I, we would talk about this, this is doing your due diligence. Just like when you're buying a home, when it's an escrow, you want to know as much about that horse so you can make an informed decision if you should buy that horse or not. On my business card years ago, I remember I had something on there that said cute, gentle, quiet sound. And I always said if the horse didn't fit all 4 of those, it wasn't the type of horse I wanted to sell. But make sure that, again, with your due diligence, have your friend that's an expert. Make sure, people call him all sorts of things like a third baseman. Don't worry about that. If he's a trainer, that's great. But have that extra set of eyes. Have them, they are there to protect you. And, you know, even if it's somebody that you're showing a video to, that you're talking on the phone, these are things that are going to be important to help protect you, to make sure you get the horse that you want. Again, when I would buy and sell, color was not important. Disposition and soundness were way more important, because I don't care how pretty the horse is. I don't care what color it is. There's an awful lot of sorrel mares that are awfully nice horses, you know, that I would call a sorrel, not necessarily a color or not a color, but you could buy a heck of a mare that didn't have color. But don't always let that blind you, like by wanting a Palomino, a Buckskin, or a Paint. Get the horse that you want. You know, videos. I make videos for people, and I have for quite a few years. They can be edited, so you need to not only watch the video, go see the horse. If you cannot be there, then have, again, your trusted friend that can. If they're out of the area, if you know someone in the area, definitely have someone go look at it that's got your best interest. Definitely do these things to protect yourself. And then, you know, negotiate with the people and on what you think a fair price is. Again, try to know the market. Guys that buy and sell horses, you'll know the market pretty close. You can never pay too little for a bad one, and you can never pay too much for a good one. And you'll know that when you end up with a bad one. That don't fit you, that isn't what they thought they had represented. But again, it's buyer beware, but do your due diligence. Know exactly what you're buying, because you've gone over from head to toe what that horse is. When you're first getting started, this is very important. I've sat through over 1,000 pre-purchase exams. Have a vet help you. It can be their vet. I found that vets aren't going to ruin their reputation over somebody's horse just because that's the horse that they look at. But make sure that you get along with the vet and let him know that the horse is for you and what you're going to be using it for, what things you expect. Again, the due diligence at this section is so important. So you've got your horse. You've picked him out. Everything's going good. You've rode him once or twice. Sometimes if you have a 12 o'clock appointment, show up at 11. Show up early. Make sure that they're not warming that horse up. I had a terrible story. This was somebody coming to look for a horse, not from me, but from someone else, and they ended up buying from me later. But they showed up early, and the people were giving this horse something that made him quieter. And I don't know what it was. I don't know who the people were. But they said, well, this is so common in this industry for people to do this. And I just shook my head and said, I could never do that. I couldn't live with myself if I did that. But they wanted all these things that they described. And a horse I had who was absolutely wonderful was none of these things. And they ended up buying the horse. But the horse was gentle, quiet sound, and buckskin, and pretty headed. I mean, this little horse was a 10. But that'll happen. And then people came out and said, I want an older gelding. I want this. I want that. And we had a mare that was younger. And thank goodness it was quiet. I bought it from the breeder. I had bought several horses over the years from the breeder. And I know the person who ended up buying that horse. They had it, the horses, their whole lifetime. The horse has since passed away. But they had it for a long time. And it was definitely a great partnership, but that's so good to see. I love those type stories that my dad and I had over the years buying and selling horses. So get your advice from people. Ask me questions. I will answer any question I think. If you need me to watch a video, I will watch a video of a horse. Sometimes will be critical, but critical is not necessarily a bad thing. So if you have questions, ask your friend, ask me. Go have fun horse hunting. It's a lot of work. They say in horse trading, you make your mistakes when you buy a horse. And what that means is if you go out and buy a horse or the wrong horse, that's where you've made your mistake. You don't make a mistake selling a good one. But happy hunting out there, and this is Richard with the Wickenburg Roundup. If you like us, subscribe to the station, tell your friends about us. But again, Richard from the podcast headquarters in Wickenburg at the world-famous La Siesta Plaza. Have a wonderful day from the Wickenburg Roundup. Take care.
6 steps for buying a horse. Let's make it the right horse.
Find your ride, pick it right, be smart and count your cash and go.
Buy smart, take it home, let that good horse grow.
Now we got the right horse, right horse.
6 quick steps,
Now
you're ready to ride. 6 steps for buying a horse. Let's make it the right horse.
find your ride, pick it right, be smart and count your cash and go.
Buy smart, take it home, let that good horse grow.
Now we got the right horse, right horse.
6 quick steps.
Now
Hi, I'm Richard with the Wickenburg Roundup. We're here at the world-famous La Siesta Plaza in downtown Wickenburg, and we're talking on how to buy a horse, the right horse. and today we're going to be talking about the purchase process. We've gone over identifying the type horse you want, and then narrowing it down to which horse, and then we went on budgeting for a horse so you know how much it's going to cost you, and then who and where to buy from. But today it's all about the purchase price of the horse. So you've picked your horse. You want to know now what the purchase process should be. It will be different on where you buy the horse, like if you buy it from an auction or an online auction, or if you bought it from a private party or a broker or a dealer. The last three will be a little bit different than buying from an auction or an online auction. I'm basically going to go over on what a private party, broker, or dealer purchase should be like. Once you've picked the horse, negotiate a price and let them know. And this is if you want a vet check, let them know ahead of time you'd like a vet check. And I always like to ask, how would you like to be paid? A lot of people don't go over that until it's way into the deal. Oh, will you take a check? I'm here with my trailer. Well, sure, I'll take a check, but you got to wait till the funds clear. And that's pretty common in the horse industry. Having cash around is good, but some of the horses today cost so much that sometimes is difficult. There's wire transfers, and they don't take very long these days with the way banking is, and sometimes you can do it right on your cell phone. Have everything up front, what you're expecting, and always ask what they're expecting as far as transportation of the horse, care of the horse if you can't pick it up that day. Go over all these details before you leave. Irregardless of the dollar amount of the horse, have a contract. It could say as little as is, description of the horse, mare, gelding, 10-year-old, AQHA, a slight description, what color it is, the date, the person selling, the person buying, and then 2 signatures. That is the minimum you would need. Description, date, who, what, and signatures to be able to have a contract that actually will hold up. A lot of times when I did it, I would sell a horse as is, and I would want people to come out and try it as many times as they want. That was just what I did, and I always recommend come out and look at the horse more than once. Make sure it's the same horse every time. Payments these days, like we said earlier, there's Venmo, there's Zelle, there's wire transfer, there's cash. Even people today still take cash. One thing to consider when buying a horse, and today's market, the horses are expensive. One of the things that could be very beneficial is to get insurance on the horse. In the old days, if a horse cost $2,000, you might not get a vet check. You might not get insurance. But today, horses 30, 40, 50, it's so much more of an investment. So take your time. You don't buy a car without doing a little research. At least most people don't. But do some research. Find out how much insurance is going to be, at least going into it, and then know either way if you would like insurance or not. I do recommend it on more of the high-dollar horses especially. Having a checklist is a great idea on everything that you do in this part of the process. I would have a mental checklist, but it is good to maybe write down some of the things like how you want the money transferred or how they want the money transferred, how shipping's going to work, how board's going to work once you've purchased this horse. Where's the vet check? Who's taking care of calling the vet to set this up? I don't mind what vet they use, even if it's their vet. A vet would be doing a lot to say a horse is sound when it's not, even if they are their clients. They just don't do that. It's not good business. Use a checklist, and I bought and sold a lot, so I had a mental checklist that I would go through and make sure I had everything. But have things written down so kind of as a reminder. How they want paid, when they want the horse picked up, scheduling the vet check. Usually the buyer should find a vet that he's comfortable with, because sometimes it's out of the area. Find a vet you're comfortable with to do the vet check. Let them know what you're going to use the horse for. And a lot of times in a vet check, they won't say it passes or doesn't pass. They're going to just let you know what the baseline is on that horse. How's its eyesight? How does it trot? How's its heart? How's its breathing? How his teeth look? I mean, overall looks of the horse as far as health goes. But this gives you a baseline on that horse. And sometimes a horse will pick up, a vet will pick up things on a horse that the seller or the buyer might have not picked up on. So it's always good. It's good, I guess, insurance on being able to get the right horse, because a vet check's a lot cheaper than the wrong horse. And with that checklist, remember that, and it is a checklist, and don't get emotional when you buy a horse or sell a horse. But when you buy that horse, know that it's a business transaction. And you need to, know what you're going to do and know and ask what that seller's going to do. Know everything up front so you don't get surprised with anything at the last minute. That's, again, where a checklist is so important. Contracts could also be called a bill of sale. I would always ask for a bill of sale. If you're doing a wire transfer or bringing cash and it is a registered horse, make sure those papers are in line before that transaction happens, because once that transaction happens, usually the seller isn't as willing to help or as urgent to help to get things done. AQHA, APHA are two associations which are quarter horses and paint horses that I have worked with a lot over the years, and they will help you get through some of this transfers. And they're there to help. But you do need to have the proper signatures, the right dates, and the right paperwork. This is something I never did, but something you can always ask for when in the negotiation part. But ask for a trial period. It doesn't hurt. A lot of times what I would do to encourage people is come out and ride this horse as many times as you want. I ride every day anyhow, so it's not like it was a big deal to have them come out and ride. And we'd take them trail riding or go ride in the arena, whatever they were comfortable doing, just so they get to know that horse better. As a seller, I sold horses as is, but it does not hurt to ask. It never hurts to ask in the negotiation process if they have a return policy or a refund policy. Again, these are things that you need to get discuss up front. Somebody might not take a horse back, and that's their decision. But if you ask up front and you know what their policy is, you might put that in the contract. But these are things that you need to ask. Get these out in the open early, because at the last minute, it's too late. When you've owned that horse for a month and you want to get it back and get all your money back, that's probably not going to happen. But, be up front and ask lots of questions. Again, I've said this in the earlier episodes, have somebody there to help you. Be kind of the voice of reason. These checklists help, and I've said that lots of times. It must be important. But have somebody there to help you. One thing that's also important when you've bought a horse is, how are you going to get it home? If it's your first horse, you probably don't have a big truck and a horse trailer to be able to take it there. Ask them if they'll deliver it. If it's a long way, you might need to get a horse transporter involved, and there's lots of places you can go to get horse transporters. Usually a seller that sells a certain amount of horses, they usually know, and sometimes they'll deliver them themselves. I know if I sold a horse that was within a few hours, I would take it. I just thought that was kind of a nice touch to help the people when they get a horse, is deliver it for them. Kind of to wrap this up, remember this is a business transaction. Protect yourself on either side, buying or selling. But be upfront, be honest, do the right thing, but make this an enjoyable experience. They are so much fun once you get them home and you've spent some time and you're getting along with that horse. They know you, you know them, and taking care of a horse is a lot of fun too. So whatever's good for the outside of a horse is good for the inside of a man. That's what a friend of mine used to tell me all the time, but it was good words to live by. So you've bought a horse. you've got him home. The next episode, episode 6, is how to take care of that horse once you get him home. That's so much. There's so much in that one. I could have done 6 podcasts just on that. So stay tuned for our next one, episode 6, how to take care of your horse. This is Richard again with the Wickenburg Roundup. If you like what you see, give us a like. We'd love to see comments, where you're from, what you think of the podcast or the video, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you again, and have a great day.
6 steps for buying a horse. Let's make it the right horse.
Find your ride, pick it right, be smart and count your cash and go.
Buy smart, take it home, let that good horse grow.
Now we got the right horse, right horse.
6 quick steps,
Now
you're ready to ride. Down at the Wickenburg Roundup, you just brought your horse on home. When you need to know how to care for him, you're never riding alone. He looks at you with those big soft eyes, makes you grin from ear to ear. Take care of your ponies the right way at the Wickenburg Roundup.
Hi, this is Richard with the Wickenburg Roundup, and we've been talking about how to buy a horse, the right horse. And right now we're going to talk about the 6 practices you need to do when you first bring your horse home. You know, the 3 probably most important things, and we'll get into the top 6, but food, water, and shelter. You know, they want to be safe. But the first most important thing, and we do it in this order, is number 1 is to quarantine that horse. Don't have him necessarily around all the other horses. Give him some space and time kind of on his own. Second thing is make sure he's got fresh water. You know, a lot of times people will have the small little individual waterers. Make sure he can get to at least a big bucket, because a lot of times it takes him a little while to get used to that water. But fresh water is so important. Watch and see how he acts. You know, spend a little time watching him. You know, if he feels really uncomfortable, I mean, do things that you can do to make him feel more comfortable. The third thing you can do is watch how your horse acts. You know, spend a little time with him. I mean, I could remember myself and even my dad, when we'd get a new horse home, he'd just sit there on the fence and just kind of watch the horse, how he's running around or going to the water, going to the food, see who his new neighbors are. I mean, there's different sights, different smells. This is all new for horses. Sometimes horses have not traveled and gone to new places, and this is new to him. So do what you can to make him feel comfortable. You know, once they're rested and he's been quarantined, next thing to do is, you know, start working your horse. Get him into a routine. Let him know, you know, where he's going to be and where he's going to go. So he's going to be, again, I'm going to use this word a lot, is make sure he's comfortable. I mean, take him out to the arena. A lot of times people will lunge a horse in the arena. So he, again, gets used to his surroundings, and again, make it fair for him, the best shot on how he's going to do when he first gets used to things. I know what I used to say when I'd get a new horse, once I got him comfortable and everything, I would haul them and use them. And you didn't necessarily need to go everywhere, but, you know, go to new places, go on new trails, but get him comfortable, have that area get bigger and bigger. It just makes it better for the horse. And again, the word I'm going to use a lot is get him comfortable. As soon as you get him home and you know you're going to get that horse even beforehand, get a vet. You know, you might talk to a couple and see who you think you like better. Get recommendations on a vet. You want to make sure that you get along, and you want to know how he's going to be with you and your horse, but a vet that you can get along with. And almost as important as a vet, if not more so, get a good farrier. Again, you might interview or talk to a couple, ask your friends who they like. You know, and some horses, some farriers specialize in certain types of shoeing. On performance horses, they're going to shoe different than somebody that's just going to do some ranch work and stuff like that. Get somebody that's going to work good for you and your horse. Going back on kind of merging a couple of the numbers together, but if your horse is sick that you bring home, or there are horses in your barn that are sick, you're going to save a lot of headache and heartache if you keep those horses separated at first, because if one's got a runny nose, then maybe the others are going to get runny noses. But keep them separated, and probably sickness and being able to get along. Do those things slowly. There could be lots of episodes just on how you take care of a horse long term. One thing, I said about the food, water, and shelter. Don't forget the salt. Salt is so important for their diet, for digestion, for hydration. I mean, horses need salt to live. So make sure that you have salt in front of them all the time. Another debate that is on how you take care of a horse and how you're going to feed him. A routine is great. Are you going to feed alfalfa? Are you going to feed grass hay? Grass hays, let me say, that's plural because there's several. Depends on what part of the country you're in. In the West, there is more alfalfa than there's going to be grass, but there is both. And down south and toward the East Coast, you're going to have more of the grass hays. And sometimes in certain parts of the country, grass hay's cheaper, and sometimes alfalfa is more expensive. Out in the West, usually alfalfa is a little bit cheaper than the grass hays. But do what's best for your horse, because some horses just do better on alfalfa. Workload has a lot to do with that. The more they get worked, alfalfa I like myself personally. And then some of the grass hays might help keep a horse quieter. But do, again, what is best for your horse. Graining and supplements are something that it's personal preference. I prefer to use an oat-based grain for my horses. I think it keeps their hair coat a little slicker. It gives them a little bit more energy. And then I am big on supplements. I have given supplements for many years, and I switch back and forth on which ones I give. Again, personal preference on what you want, but I take vitamins, so I like to give my horse vitamins also. When I talk about watching your horse and watch their behavior and see what they do, but look at their legs, look at their feet, look at their teeth, look at their eyes, look at their ears, and handle a lot of these places on a horse and other places. But get used to your horse, and he will help. And in turn, he'll get used to you. But handle your horse when you first get him. Don't overdo it. Again, turn him out. Let him. My number one word probably in this when you first get him home is let them get comfortable. One thing I didn't bring up that I definitely want to bring up now is there are certain plants that horses are allergic to, and they can be lethal. There is oleanders, which are beautiful, has a gorgeous flower, but it is deadly to a horse. Another plant that I didn't know in my early time in the horse industry, but is fiddleneck. It's toxic to horses. It looks like a mustard seed plant, and they're everywhere. I did not realize that they were as abundant as they are, but both of those to me are in the areas that I have been. But in your area, there might be others. But find out what locally horses are allergic to, what there are that are toxic to. But be aware of those and try to not have them anywhere where a horse can get into these, because that having a horse get sick or having a horse get colic, definitely not a fun thing. But be sure you know what horses or what plants in the area are toxic to horses. You're starting a new partnership with your horse. Make it be a happy one. Happy for you, happy for him, and give him the best chance to have a good start for that partnership. To me, there's been nothing more enjoyable than the time I get to spend with my horses, to watch them grow, to watch them improve, to gain that connection and that partnership with them. It's one of the most satisfying things that I have. Now, in going over all of these videos and the podcast, I'm sure I forgot a lot. But my mother used to tell me this: when you're given a talk or a speech, it's the speech that you prepared, the speech that you gave, and then the speech that you wish you gave. And all three are going to be different. But if there are questions, and if you think I made a mistake, please point it out. I want to know. I've done this for most of my life, and I have found it very enjoyable. I got to spend some of the best years of my life with my dad, with horses, and it's, again, so enjoyable to do these things. What's good for the outside of a horse is good for the inside of a man. But if you did like what you've heard and seen, please give us a like, subscribe to our channel. That's the Wickenburg Roundup. And we're in downtown Wickenburg at the world-famous La Siesta Plaza, the podcast headquarters in Wickenburg. Again, this is Richard. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you again, and happy trails.
Down at the Wickenburg Roundup, you just brought your horse on home. When you need to know how to care for him, you're never riding alone. He looks at you with those big soft eyes, makes you grin from ear to ear. Take care of your ponies the right way at the Wickenburg Roundup.
We hope you enjoyed these episodes on how to buy a horse, the right horse. So we now know the who, the what, the where, and the why about buying a horse. Again, the right horse. So happy horse hunting from us at the Wickenburg Roundup. Please give us a like and subscribe, and share this with your friends. Thank you again. This is Richard at the Wickenburg Podcast headquarters in the world-famous La Siesta Plaza. Thank you again, and we'll see you soon.
6 steps for buying a horse. Let's make it the right horse.
Find your ride, pick it right, be smart and count your cash and go.
Buy smart, take it home, let that good horse grow.
Now we got the right horse, right horse.
6 quick steps.
Now
You're ready to ride.